Hello everyone, I am Yash Kaushik. I am the co-founder of Syncelis Technomed. We all know that frontline healthcare workers and professionals, including emergency and critical care physicians, are the most important part of our fight against COVID-19. We at Syncelis Technomed are grateful for the hours that they spend in the service of humankind and the risk they take to ensure that everyone receives the best possible healthcare. However, we also understand that these professionals are just as human as us and are prone to stress and other related issues while working at COVID-19 facilities and even outside during this pandemic. So today we'll talk about some of the major issues faced by our corona warriors and what they can do to cope up with them effectively. We have with us Dr. Shiva Singh. Dr. Shiva Singh is a senior clinical psychologist in Powai, Mumbai and has an experience of more than 20 years in this field. She specializes in anxiety, depression, and parenting. Dr. Shiva Singh practices at Nahar Medical Center in Powai, Mumbai. She is a gold medalist in Masters in Psychology and PhD Psychology from Punjab University. Dr. Shiva is also the Chief Advisor of the Mental Health Department at Syncelis Technomed. We welcome you to today's podcast, Dr. Shiva.
Thank you so much, Yash. Thank you.
So, Dr. Shiva, the frontline healthcare workers and medical and critical care professionals are at the direct line of attack of COVID-19 and as they work to save lives and restore health. So in this scenario, they are most vulnerable to many mental health challenges. So in your opinion, what are the major psychological conditions that they are facing during this pandemic?
Hello, everyone. This is a very nice question, Yash, and the need of the hour, actually. So, important topic which is usually ignored because it looks that the physical aspect of pandemic needs more attention than anything else, right? So, but these unprecedented times have led to several mental health issues. We should not ignore that. And this is present in general public and especially among the frontline health workers. Obviously, because they are in contact with other patients whom they look at every day, and there is a fear of death in their patients, which they see, which they witness every day. So obviously, there has to be some mental health issues or some emotional issues attached with the frontline helpers, especially. So these may be, say, these people are not able to sleep sometimes at night, or maybe they have sleepless days, obviously, because they are working long hours in stressful situations. But at night also sometimes they are not able to sleep. Obviously, they experience stress, anxiety, restlessness, sadness, depression. Now, here I'm saying sadness and depression differently because there is a difference between sadness and depression. So, depression is when the sadness lingers on for a longer time. And sadness is when you come up with other alternatives also after being sad or after being disappointed by something. Right? So, that's why I'm taking sadness and depression as different things. Now, irritation also, many times we have seen, because I have witnessed some frontliners. So I have seen that they become very irritated, sometimes very angry, and also very importantly, they lack concentration. So that these are some of the difficulties which they face, and I think they should do something about it if they experience it or if they identify it.
Yes, ma'am. We often see that healthcare workers work for long hours in a highly stressful situation, and social distancing makes interpersonal contact limited. So, in this situation, they tend to be on their own most of the time in a highly stressful environment. So, ma'am, what can they do in order to manage this stress and lack of interpersonal communication?
Exactly. So it's very crucial to address this mental health status because, as I said, that they lack concentration sometimes, and it's very important for them to be more productive and concentrate on what they are doing, obviously, because they are healthcare workers, right? So, so first of all, I would say that they need to focus on their sleep,
Okay, ma'am.
because that energizes you for more work, right? So physically also and mentally also. So at least I think they need to have some 6 to 8 hours of sleep every day to start working or to be productive the next day. And then also they should take some small breaks during work to stretch and exercise. Very, very small breaks, maybe when they're working in hospitals. They can come out whenever they have time, obviously. If they are taking care of critical people, then obviously they have less time for themselves. But then still, whenever they find time, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, they can come out and stretch. Also, they can do some relaxation exercises when they are at home. They can do some breathing exercises that helps a lot. So some deep breathing exercises help a lot. Also, when they have they are free and there are non-working hours, they can do some things which they enjoy. So suppose when they are at home, they can spend some time with family, or they can watch some TV shows or some comedy which relaxes them, or whatever they enjoy doing, right? And one more very important thing I would want to focus over here is that they need to communicate with their near and dear ones, maybe video chatting or audio chatting, or maybe writing text. But they need to connect with other people. They need to talk something else also. Other than work, they need to talk something else. Now, when I'm saying they need to talk work also, because that eases a lot of anxiety. And they need to talk work with their colleagues, with their co-workers, because they are in the same situation. If they discuss their experiences and their fears with their co-workers, that helps a lot, right? So that situational similarity eases anxiety.
That's what I was about to ask. That can the workplace be made less stressful in such circumstances?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
When they talk to each other, that eases anxiety definitely. Yeah.
Also, ma'am, witnessing death in exceptional circumstances and inability to prevent an apparently healthy person from slipping into such a critical condition may have a psychological toll amounting to trauma. So how can this be prevented, and what may be done to manage this by oneself?
Yes, definitely. They experience trauma because they are in very, very stressful situations all the time. And as I said earlier, that they witness patients who have a fear of death. So first of all, they need to acknowledge that stress is a normal response to traumatic incident. Right? So everybody or anybody who experiences a traumatic incident, they experience stress.
Yes, ma'am.
But we need to focus on it when it lingers on for a longer time. We need to do something about it, right? And in other now in specific situations, here we are talking about COVID-19. So here I would say that people they feel that they are at fault. They have done something, or they feel guilty. So I would say that they should not feel guilty about it, because not everything is in their hands, right? So they are doing their best, right? So they need to understand that it is not their fault and they should not feel guilty about it. That helps a lot. Now, another is that they need to talk to others. When there is a traumatic incident, they should not keep it to themselves. They should talk to others. They should discuss things with others. And here, family also is a very important factor, and co-workers, of course. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
One more thing I would want to add over here is that, like I earlier also said, that deep breathing. Deep breathing is a very calming exercise, and you can do it any number of times and at any point of time, at any time of the day. So even if you're sitting at your workplace, you can do this exercise to calm yourself. Right?
Yes, ma'am. I totally agree with this.
Yeah.
Ma'am, a lot of stigma is attached to COVID-19, and healthcare workers and professionals are on one hand more vulnerable to disease itself. So on the other hand, they are more prone to face the stigma in the society due to their role. So ma'am, what is your message to the society regarding their responsibility and role in this stigma, and how can it be removed?
See, when you talk about stigma, and you talk about how to remove it, I would say that first of all, we need to have proper knowledge about the difficulty. Now here we are focusing on COVID-19. So I would suggest that people need to know what it is and what are the precautions we need to take and how we can save ourselves and others from this problem. Right? So if people have proper knowledge about something, obviously the stigma lessens a bit or maybe more.
Yes, ma'am.
And it can be removed also. Right? So here, if you say my message to society, I would say COVID warriors are helping everyone without worrying about their lives, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And we all know that they too have families to support and their lives are valuable too, right? And I also know some doctors and support staff who are staying away from families to serve, away from families for days together. And they are serving the society. But we can't do much to help them, but we can always support them emotionally, right? So how can we do that? We can show some gratitude and respect. That's very, very important. So rather than shunning them, we need to respect them because they are doing a lot for our society.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So that makes them more confident and more productive because they feel accepted. Right? So taking care of their emotional well-being becomes our responsibility here.
Also, ma'am, you mentioned the family. So, ma'am, like, can you guide us, like, how can the family help in improving the mental well-being?
Definitely. Family is a huge support. It has a huge role, whether it's a small emotional disturbance or a big mental disorder.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely, it helps a lot. And from the very childhood, we start learning coping strategies from our parents or from other family members. Right? As a child, we learn, the parents become or other family members become our role models.
Yes.
So whatever they do, we also do like that. So we learn a lot from family from the very childhood. Also, when our family fulfills our needs of love and belongingness, we feel very safe and confident. Whether say it's a child or it's an adult. So the need for love and belongingness is very important. And once it gets fulfilled, we feel very good. And we also develop trust when we have good relations with our family. And that's how we share our difficult emotions with them. Obviously, when we trust somebody, then only we share anything with that person.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So, and this sharing of emotions work as a therapy.
Mm-hmm.
for us. So yes, if you have a supportive and understanding family, it helps a lot to feel better emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in these difficult times of COVID, the families of the frontline workers can help them by showering love, care, acceptance, support,
Mm-hmm.
respect,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
So mostly when we are talking about family, it comes to love and care,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. And ma'am, as we are even passing through these testing times, we value that some of us have an exceptional role to play in the current situation, like our doctors, nurses, assistants, technicians, and all the people working in close proximity of the healthcare facility. They need to know that they can effectively manage their psychological stress and trauma. On the other hand, the society and community needs to change their attitude towards them for helping them in giving their fullest to the noble cause. So Sukoon by Sinsalas has incorporated wellness exercises in its application that may be effectively used to reduce the stress and anxiety. It is a humble contribution towards the psychological and emotional wellness of our nation. With this, I would like to thank you, Dr. Shiva, for the today's enlightening and useful discussion. I hope that this knowledge will help the healthcare professionals a long way in maintaining their psychological well-being in these testing times. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.